What happens when a long-time liberal voice starts questioning the very party he once defended? Bill Maher isn't just criticizing from the sidelines. He's laying out exactly why he's stepping back from the Democratic Party. From ideological extremes to out-of-touch leadership, the disconnect is too big to ignore. This isn't a dramatic flip. It's a thoughtful break from a direction that no longer makes sense to him. Let's take a closer look at what pushed him to this point.
I watched the evolution of both these guys. This didn't happen overnight. In 2022, before he owned Twitter, Elon tweeted this chart depicting how he felt about the liberal side having shifted so much that it left a basically liberal centrist like him now labeled a conservative. I related to the kind of mean girl you get from the cool kids in Wokeville when you're perceived that way. They tried real hard to cancel Rogan a few years ago. And when Elon hosted Saturday Night Live in 2021, well before he was a Trumper, some of the cast members gave him the cold shoulder for the sin of being rich.
Bill Maher just lit the fuse. And this time, it wasn't for laughs. On a raw and unfiltered episode of Real Time, he went straight for the jugular, launching into a searing monologue that scorched the far left. No sugarcoating, no tiptoeing, just Maher calling out what he sees as a progressive movement losing touch with reality. He even hinted this could be his final act. For the chronically outraged, this was gasoline on the fire. But for anyone who's followed Maher's slow burn over the years, this explosion was only a matter of time. He's been circling this moment like a shark smelling blood in the water. Before we dive deeper into the fallout, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss the next truth bomb we drop. Let's get into it.
You want to win my vote? Don't give me the ick. You know what the ick is, right? It's a term mostly used in the dating world to describe that moment when one of the people, usually the man, does something so icky that the woman cannot forgive it or forget it. Like sending a pic or being mean to the waitress, paying for dinner with a coupon, getting his mother to call you when you dump him, asking for in baby voice. Once you give her the ick, it's a wrap.
If you're wondering what finally pushed Bill Maher to the edge, here's the straight-up, no-filter breakdown. The left has drifted so far off course, it's like they're spinning in circles in a political clown car. Maher's been sounding the alarm for years, warning Democrats they're headed for a crash, but no one listened. And now, it's gone beyond just extreme ideas. It's about indoctrinating kids to hate their own country while glorifying regimes that would love to see it fall. That's not progressive. That's insanity. For Maher, this was the breaking point. He'd had enough. What followed was a brutal, no-holds-barred takedown. Vintage Maher, sharp, unfiltered, and relentless. Let's just say he didn't hold back, and honestly, it was long overdue.
The people who are getting the big crowds right now are AOC and Bernie Sanders. They're going around the country. Thank you, there's that same guy. I call him the always wrong guy. Okay, but I feel like, big crowds, again, the shiny object that the Democrats chase. It's not about the big crowds that come out to you when you're talking in a festival or wherever they are. I think it's because I think Bernie showed up at Coachella. That must have been fun for the fans. It's who shows up on Election Day. And I just don't see that's the ticket. I mean, Cory Booker, I know you've worked with him. I like Cory a lot from my home state of New Jersey. Made a speech for 25 hours. Again, just whacking each other off. This is just not what's going to get the job done.
You could almost see the heat rising off Bill Maher as he tore into party heavyweights like Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, holding them responsible for the erosion of patriotism among young Democrats. The irony? Sanders and AOC continue to walk right into the crosshairs. Instead of uplifting the country, Maher argued they're fueling division and catering to the loudest, most radical voices in the room. His voice shook with anger as he blasted Democratic leadership, accusing them of trading away fundamental American values for viral moments, TikTok trends, and hollow praise from activist echo chambers. But this wasn't just another rant. It felt like a eulogy for the party he once stood by. Maher scorched them for abandoning unity, strength, and reason, the core of the American identity. Instead of inspiring the next generation to value their country, he sees them molding cynics who are taught to despise it. And for Maher, that betrayal wasn't just infuriating, it was the final straw. He's not just angry, he's over it.
Democrats have become like a royal family that, because of so much, has unfortunately had children who are and the same thing can happen to ideas if they are also conceived in an atmosphere of intellectual test. Maybe take the clothespins off your noses and actually converse with the other half of the country. Stop screaming at people to get with the program and instead make a program worth getting with.
Bill Maher's fury is unmistakable. Every word he delivers feels like a direct hit against the very party he once championed. He accuses the Democrats of retreating into a smug, overly woke echo chamber, completely out of touch with the daily struggles of ordinary Americans. What they tout as progress, he sees as recycled fantasies, outdated ideas wrapped in trendy buzzwords with zero connection to real-life issues. Case in point, AOC's so-called economic revolution. Maher doesn't hold back, dismissing it as socialism repackaged, a reboot of a failed ideology that history has repeatedly burned to the ground. He calls out her lofty claims as either wildly exaggerated, dangerously naive, or flat-out impractical. And yet, somehow, the Democratic establishment is charging ahead, positioning her as the next big hope for 2028. Maher's not convinced. To him, this isn't progress. It's political cosplay, pretending to be a revolution. He's shocked at how far the party has strayed from its working-class roots, now more obsessed with viral sound bites than real solutions. And for Maher, that growing disconnect was the last straw. He's done.
It's never too early to strategize. Democrats have been having a lot of donor retreats lately where liberal strategists hold ideathons, where they try to figure out why they keep losing elections. You know, apart from using words like ideathon. And now one idea that's getting a lot of attention is the Dems need to find their Joe Rogan, a liberal Joe Rogan, because that's why Kamala lost. Republicans have a podcast.
Yup, that was actually one of their big strategies. And to be fair, on paper, it wasn't the worst idea. Leading up to the 2024 election, Democrats had pretty much torched whatever goodwill they once had with independent media and neutral podcasts. Their relentless push for ideological purity and strict party loyalty alienated anyone who didn't toe the exact line. And when those previously neutral voices dared to offer criticism, the response wasn't debate. It was cancel culture, public shaming, and full-blown digital takedowns. Naturally, the backlash hit hard. Many of those pushed away didn't flock to Trump out of love. They were driven there out of frustration. Take Joe Rogan, for example, a centrist with enormous influence who ended up telling his audience to vote Republican. That kind of shift doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's triggered. It's the result of the party choosing to silence dissent rather than engage with it. Now, Democrats are backpedaling, trying to rebuild bridges with the very people they dismissed. But here's the catch. You can't cancel someone on Monday and expect their vote on Tuesday.
I don't think his mind is completely inflexible. His neck, yes. But not his mind. And he's expressed unease with some things Trump is doing, as has a certain disgruntled former employee named Elon Musk, who, like Joe, is another guy who 5 years ago was thought of as a liberal, but got driven into the other camp by bad attitudes and bad ideas. A reversal I completely understand, although I would never emulate. I also see the woke mind virus. I just don't jump from frying pans into fires.
Like it or not, more and more people are drifting toward the MAGA movement. And whether he's ready to say it or not, Bill Maher seems to be inching in that direction too. Sure, he recently claimed in a clip that he's not making the jump. But let's be honest, that's exactly how Elon Musk started. Same with Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance, even Joe Rogan. They all denied any shift, right up until the Democratic Party's leftward spiral made the decision for them. Maher might not be wearing a red cap just yet, but listen closely. The frustration, the disillusionment, the worldview, it's all starting to sound familiar. He's fed up with performative virtue signaling, tired of censorship games, and baffled by how quickly his old party abandoned everyday common sense. At some point, when your values stop aligning with your party's direction, the break is inevitable. Maher may say he's staying put, but every monologue feels like he's already halfway out the door. The Democratic Party, in his view, has become a walking contradiction. Loud, proud, and completely out of touch. They slam the rich while cozying up to billionaire donors. They preach equality, but silence voices like Rashida Tlaib right before a crushing election loss. They claim to champion the working class, yet back candidates who've never worked a real job or even pretended to understand life paycheck to paycheck. And let's be real. This so-called party of intellect handed the mic to someone who struggles to speak without a teleprompter and divine backup. It's hypocrisy on full display, layered with delusion and topped with a side of smug. So honestly, why wouldn't someone like Bill Maher start heading for the exit? When a party disconnects from reality, mocks its own base, and trades substance for symbolism, even the most loyal supporters begin to question things. And Maher, he's not just questioning. One foot's already out, and the other's not far behind.
You think people don't remember when you do this to them? That it's not going to have blowback? Now me, again, you don't have to win me back because I never left. But all the guys in America like Joe and Elon, yeah, you do have to win them back. The good news is you can. Elon has gone from saying, I love Donald Trump as much as a straight man can love another man.
At this point, how much more proof do you need that Bill Maher is packing his bags? He's practically spelling it out. Don't make me cringe if you still want my vote. And no, that's not a joke. It's a warning. One he's issued time and time again. But this time, you can hear it in his voice. The sarcasm has a sharper edge. The jabs sting a little more, and the patience, long gone. Maher isn't just annoyed anymore. He's exhausted, burned out from trying to act as the voice of reason in a party that's too busy shouting over itself to actually listen. He's done pretending. The far left hasn't taken control of the wheel and driven the entire bus straight off the cliff. And now, he's not pleading for change. He's giving a post-mortem. Maher isn't asking Democrats to course correct. He's simply laying out, with brutal honesty, why he's already made up his mind. The frustration, the fatigue, the disconnection, it's all there. And make no mistake, he's not waiting around anymore. He's already walking away.
A couple of weeks ago, Bobby Kennedy, scion of the most storied dynasty in Democratic Party history, dropped out of the presidential race and threw his support not to the Democrat, but to Trump. And everyone all at once said the same thing. Bobby Kennedy did something weird?